Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll. From Cape Cod to Cancun, from Tampa to Taipei, from Vegas to the Vatican, we got you covered from overnight openers, morning movers and shakers, public trends, angles, contrarian, steam. And if you were following the steam yesterday, you got burnt. But we'll get to that as soon as we can. But without further ado, my co-host from the Palm Tree State himself, the one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, how are you?
Morning, Jeff. And what is it? It's the Monday aftermath, right? So it's one of those deals where, you just put your pieces back together and count whether you won, lost, or whatever you did. I was 2-1 yesterday in the NFL, so not too bad. And the only one that burned me was the Colts. The Colts got me pretty good yesterday.
First and foremost, maybe twice a year, I'll wear a backwards hat, and I had a few calls over the weekend. The World Series of Poker, which we're usually out there for in July for the main event, has been going on. The seniors started up. The senior event started up. Had a couple friends and family playing over the weekend and this past week. We're getting closer to the main event, so I told everyone I'd wear my World Series of Poker hat for them today. I missed the Rio. I still got an inkling that I might tiptoe out there for a couple days during the main event. So to everyone out there grinding like we do on a daily basis, best of luck, and hope your races don't get cracked there. But as for yesterday, any given Sunday, we could talk. It's just how do they say this, Scotty? Spin, rinse, and repeat. I mean, I know the books took some supposed big losses the last few weeks. But when you look at, what transpired yesterday, favorites 5 and 8, over 6 and 7, some big dogs that cashed outright. Panthers plus 135, Titans plus 135, Jets as high as plus 450, Patriots plus 220, Saints without Jameis plus 195. And in our action parlay, again, we went down in flames with the Titans. I will put the blame. I'll start it with Frank Reich and the OC in regards to you get out to a 14-0 lead, and your best player, hands down, is Jonathan Taylor. So you let the Titans back, a team that never quits. Okay. And now you get to the late third and fourth quarter and you survive after a pick six. You're able to get a flag yourself to bring it to overtime, win the toss, get 2 possessions, and Taylor touches the ball once. And I knew on the second drive, it wasn't if, it's when. If you kept having Wentz throw the ball, he was going to throw another pick, and he did, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a quarterback-driven league, and it's a throwing league, and all the nerds out there like me are going to tell you that running the ball is not a in our terminology EV positive play. In terms of EPA and things like that, there's you wouldn't believe it or not. If I showed you the numbers, you might, but even Derrick Henry, who is arguably the best running back going right now, his plays where he runs the ball are not as effective and they're not as productive of plays as if they passed. So there needs to be balance. I mean, it's a pretty given thing that in any one of these leagues, if you become one-dimensional, whether it's in college or football or it doesn't matter what it is, pro football or basketball or hockey or any of that stuff, if you become a one-dimensional team and you can only be good at one thing, and then that makes it limited for what you can do to score points, then the defense has an edge because the defense has the ability to start chipping away and take away what you might think you can do. So that kind of leads me into tonight's game. So the Chiefs score points. I shouldn't even say that. The Chiefs have good offense. They don't score points like they used to anymore. But they can't stop the other team from throwing the football. So if they can't stop the other team from throwing the football, how are they going to cover spreads? That's just a good question. That's all.
Back to Jonathan Taylor. I think maybe more also my point is you don't have to automatically hand him the ball. You let the corners rush. Nice dink and dunk screenplays, kind of like what Pittsburgh uses Najee Harris, because Ben can't throw the ball anymore. And so if Najee's not running it, he's dumping it off to Harris. Speaking of the Titans, Henry looks like he might be done for the season. And that is just a crippling blow for the Titans, who had just been rolling. And now they got the Rams coming up this week, which we'll get into later this week as well. But again, about the NFL, it's any given Sunday. And we're blue in the face to anyone that wants to listen. If you're up a handful of units, just put a little to the left and just do your thing. If you're down a handful of units, you're not going in there double-fisted, double-barreled and beating the books on a Sunday in the NFL. It just doesn't happen. And the small dogs that you think got a puncher's chance to win, blown out. A lot of people like myself, I thought Jacksonville had a good shot, not just to cover, but to hang around, blown out. We talked about the steam live yesterday. The steam plays was the Browns against the Steelers. They lose outright. The steam plays, the Lions were getting steamed like no tomorrow yesterday morning. Got smoked. And then we talked about the Patriots that were getting steamed that went outright. So again, if you're chasing steam, especially on Sunday, you better get Calgon or something, because you could get burnt pretty good there, Scotty.
Yeah, just looking at that box score yesterday with the Titans and the Colts, it's kind of interesting. EPA numbers for Jonathan Taylor was in the positive yesterday, and that's good for a running back. And my point is proven here that Derrick Henry had negative 0.25 EPA per play. So that means that every time he touched the ball, you should have gave it to somebody else, because he was a negative to the points. And Jonathan Taylor was positive to the points, not very damn much, but he was 0.05 to the positive. So when you break these games down, you start looking at what nerds look at. The reality becomes that it's a different game anymore. And if you're not throwing the football, and this is a perfect example. If you're, we talked about it yesterday with the Seahawks and Pete Carroll a little bit, that the game is getting beyond these guys, man. They can't figure the shit out anymore, and they think that that they know what the hell they're doing, because I'm going to go run the football. Okay, well, go run the football until you're dead, because you're not going to win. You've got to be able to throw the football, and if you don't have a quarterback, you're in trouble. And I look at that same damn game. The Colts got ahead 14-0, and this makes sense, right? So the Colts get ahead 14-0, and just what you said, give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. He's a 0.05 positive points per play example. And then when you look at what Carson Wentz was on his drop back passes, he's negative 0.08. So you've got to figure out too, when you're in the middle of the game, what's effective and what's not. So if you're not effective at throwing the football, you better figure out something else you can be effective at. And if you can mix in the run and you can do the different things that you need to do, that's a great strategy. You're not always going to see a quarterback be negative. You're going to see wide receivers be positive a lot. And that's where, you get all the points these days, is these damn wide receivers are prima donnas, but at the same time, they're prima donnas. They're pretty damn good, man. And the game is predicated now on the penalties, that it just behooves the offense and the wide receivers. And if you got a quarterback that can just throw the ball near them, they're either going to get a penalty called on, or they're going to catch the son of a bitch, because they doing all kinds of one-handed stuff and behind their back and above their head. And I mean, it's whatever, man. It's a different game than when, Franco Harris ran the ball.
The immaculate reception.
I mean, it's crazy, buddy. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It is absolutely crazy. I've got another thing I'm going to pull up here for you in a minute. It's something I think matters, and I'm going to start tracking. And I just picked up on it right before these games went off. It's in my Twitter feed, so I got to go get it. So it's going to take me a second, but what it is one of these nerds went out here, and I call them nerds because I say that nicely. They went out there and they created a plot that shows where's it at? That shows you the point value of penalties. So in other words, EPA based off of penalties. I gotta go find it. It's in my likes. Where's my likes? And then once I find it, it's you'll get a good gist of why I say this. And I say it because what happened with the Bucks yesterday and all the penalties that they had and all the stupid stuff they did. Here we go. Perfect. Impact from penalties through week 7, not in through yesterday. So on defensive penalties, the number one team on defense that's being affected is the San Francisco 49ers, and they're being affected like unbelievably bad. It is actually almost 5 points a game that they're being affected by penalties. And that's a shit ton. I mean, if you can think about it, you sit there and you're going to go, okay, look, man, I'm going to go into this game. I'm already behind 5 points because my defense can't stop face masking somebody or something. But when I looked at the Buccaneers, their defense was over 3 points and their offense was over 1.5. So 4.5 points a game that the Buccaneers are leaving on the table because of that. Teams that don't are like the Rams. The Rams are less than 1.5 points on defense and 1 point on offense. So it's only less than 3 points. Tonight you're going to see that in the Giants. The Giants don't have many penalties that create negative points, whereas the Chiefs on offense 2.5 points, on defense 2 points, only 4.5 points. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that some of this stuff broke down that way. The Browns are really bad on defense and offense, for that matter, for giving up points. 4 points on defense, almost 3.5 on offense. So almost over 7 points a game the Browns leave on the table because they can't stop, the yellow flags.
I just, it's the game has changed. There's no doubt about it. I'll just end on this note with the Carson Wentz thing. Listen, yeah, you got to throw the ball to be successful in today's NFL. Okay. But when you have an edge at running back, you have a young stud. Okay. Again, I'm not suggesting to run him twice into the line. And then on the third pass, on the third down to just dump it to him or just heave one up to Pittman or Mo Alley Cox or something. The point is also you can't turn the damn ball over. And Wentz is back there like he's Bart Starr just chucking it like, dude, you could see it coming. And that's what irritated me the most. I get the pick six late in the end of the game because he was trying to get out of the safety. Okay. He didn't want to get the safety. So, I mean, if you got the safety, you got to punt the ball back to him. So he was just trying to throw it away. And it happened to be a pick six. And it actually benefited them. They got the ball back and they scored. But listen, the first drive, nothing. You held them. The second drive, okay, you got 4 or 5 minutes left in that OT. The thing you got to do is simply is this. Mindset is I got 4 plays to get 10 yards. Let's move the chains a couple times. Worst case scenario, we're kicking a field goal here to try to win the game or it's a tie. It's not try to make the big play and get this game over with. And once again, I just discussed it there, but I'm going to just turn the page there. I'm going to wait on the KC game right now. KC, the real opening line was 13. It's currently 10 and a hook at all across the Vegas Strip. Under over, the opening line was 54 down to 52. Basically in a nutshell, do the Giants get to 20, 21? Is Kansas City going to get to 30, 31, or do they get beyond? I mean, I think Kansas City's like 1-14 their last 15 against the spread. We're going to get back to that, but I want to go to the World Series, Scotty. If you turned on the game and you saw Atlanta jump out to a 4-0 lead, I think you would have got the champagne started to chill, maybe a nice cootery board, maybe some nice, cheese, prosciutto, and it was going to be a good night if you're the Braves fan because the game's over. 4-0, you got all the momentum, and this Astro team just never says die. And again, I'm not pumping their bandwagon, but to come back 4-2, 4-4, and then Freeman said, not so fast. He hit a ball that still isn't come down 460 feet. But then the Astros just jump back on and they're coming back. They're coming back home. They're right now minus 119. They got Garcia versus Fried, 122 at Pinnacle right now. Fried has struggled in the playoffs. And if you get the real Fried, I think it should be game over. But my point is, there could be a game 7, Scotty, on Tuesday.
Well, there could be. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We talked about how that if you were with the Braves, you wanted the Braves to win yesterday because you don't want to go back and you don't want to play in Houston. You just don't. That said, it's hard to beat a team 3 straight times, even if it's I don't know the Cubs or whoever else it is. It's not easy to beat these guys. They are professional baseball players. They got off to a great start. I mean, a grand slam. I mean, holy shit. It's a grand slam. It's 4-0. But remember who was pitching for Atlanta, right? I mean, they got this guy, whatever the hell his name is out there, Tucker somebody. And, it's one of those deals where, okay, well, let's see what we can get out of him. And then he made it through the first inning, okay. And then, didn't make it through the second inning without giving up 2 runs. And then he got in trouble in the third inning and had to take him out. And then what do they got left? I mean, shit, they threw Jesse Chavez. I mean, I get it. I mean, he's like their rubber-armed guy that's going to go out there and, and do whatever. But that's what he is. I mean, it's Jesse Chavez going out there. Minter finally had a struggling inning where he walked in a run. So, these guys need a little break, and they didn't get it last night. So it didn't surprise me that Houston stayed in the game, and it didn't surprise me that they actually won the game. It was a little interesting at the beginning, 4-0. That's a pretty big deficit to have to overcome. But it's a pretty big deficit, and you have to overcome when you're facing true major league pitching. And, this guy's a former AAA player, and he didn't pitch much in this regular season. He didn't pitch much, and he's coming back from injury and all the other stuff that went on with that kid. I didn't think his stuff was that great. I mean, he threw 92, 93, 94. That's what everybody throws these days. And the movement on the ball didn't seem like it was the greatest thing in the world. And if you're going to walk hitters, especially Astro hitters, you're going to pay the price. So you need to throw strikes, and I still don't think that that's going to be a death blow for anybody. I mean, if I'm the Braves and I'm sitting here and I only got to win 1 more game and there's 2 left to go, and then you're the Astros and you had to win 3 and you got to win all 3. I'm still liking it being the Braves, and then I'm in that good spot. And now I'm lined up with my pitchers. Right now I got Fried, and then I can go with Anderson. And then that throws the thing back over on the Astros. because they don't got their pitchers now. They're all gone. So who in the hell's going to start and do whatever? And I mean, I know Garcia is going to pitch, but of all the pitchers that they have, he's the only guy that's truly a strikeout guy. But if he can't control his stuff and he can't be in there, I think the Braves. I think the Braves win the next game. I think Fried pitches his best game. I think Fried. I think he's going to do fine. And then we'll see what happens. I think, and then once the offseason comes around, just duck and cover. I mean, it's going to be mudslinging and crap throwing and it's going to be embarrassing to watch multimillionaires fight with multi-billionaires over what it should be, and it's just tune into other things and hope that by April, that they're actually playing.
Yeah, once the last called strike or the last out of the World Series, I usually tune into MLB or starting around MLB Network around December 1st, because you start to warm up to that hot stove league. And back in the day, it was a blast. I mean, it was, that week where they're in Vegas or wherever they're hosting, and just to hear these guys talk about the potential trades, what's going on, and all that good stuff in free agency. That was so fun. And it really doesn't happen anymore because the big name guys are waiting to see some of the smaller guys, what they're getting for numbers, and then they're holding out. And sometimes it blows up in their face. I saw, I'm going to draw a blank here, but one of the big name free agents, just hired Morris. So, he's not getting signed till February at least. But I hope they play. I miss it. I enjoy it. Baseball is a sport. I think you either love it or hate it. And we're already game 6 going to happen tomorrow. Everyone's all lathered up and giddy because the MAC's back. And so you literally have like a month straight of football on every day between the MAC and the other games. So, all right. So we're going to close up here. Let's go back to the game tonight. I'm seeing 58% of the tickets, 70% of the money right now on Kansas City. Again, it opened up at 13, now 10 and hook. I'm going to break it down a couple more layers, and then I'll pass the buck to you. We got the over-under of 52 currently. Giants team total 20 and a hook, under 115, and Kansas City 31 and a hook, under 120. So again, basic common math. Kansas City 31-20. If you're backing the Giants today, again, your key numbers, I think, are 21, 23, and 24. Do you think the Giants can get there? If you do, you got a hell of a chance to cover this game. And again, for Kansas City, 31 and a half juiced under 120. Now 31 and a half juiced over to 113. Does Mahomes in the game get to 33, 34, or 35? Or does the defense actually play defense? I'll just dig into the first half numbers for everyone listening. Let me see here. Spread. Opened at 6, now 6.5 minus 125. So if you're a Kansas City backer and you don't want to get backdoored, you think they're finally going to come out guns a-blazing, you can get them right now minus 6 and a hook, minus 125. The team totals for the first half, Giants 10 and a half under, juiced at 164, and Kansas City 15 and a half juiced over 121. And I'm just going to go right here for 1 second. When I see a 10 and a half juiced under 164, they're trying to bait you into saying the Giants are going to score 10 or less. Okay. If this was 9.5 juiced over 164, I would tell you they're not getting a 10. When I see this number, I'm going to tell you the Giants are getting a 13 in the first half. I'm not betting it. I'm just telling you what that number's telling me. They're going to get to 13. And now they give you the bait and hook show on Kansas City at 15 and a half over 121. They want you with the mindset, well, they're going to get to 17, 20, or 21. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying there, Scotty.
No, I get it. This game's kind of a weird game. They don't play each other that often. They don't see each other that much. I think the last time they actually met was in 2017, and the score was Kansas City 9 and the Giants 12. You think we're going to get that score today, 9-12? I
Who
don't
was
think
playing?
so.
Phil Simms, Lawrence Taylor.
I know, right? So I don't think we're going to see that number. But what was interesting to me when I look at this, so the Chiefs, the last 5 games they played they played in Tennessee. They gave up 27 points. They played at Washington. Washington only scored 13. So that was their best defensive performance in the last 5 games. But then they played Buffalo, gave up 38. Then they played Philadelphia, gave up 30. Then they played the Chargers, gave up 30. So they've given up basically 30 points a game in 4 out of the last 5 times. And what we're saying, or what I'm thinking is, and the way I looked at it, my numbers tell me that the game's like 28-21 is what the numbers show on my EPA numbers and all that stuff that breaks out. It's 28-21. So I was looking at it to go, okay, well, should I go under that 52? Because that's a pretty good number. And I thought, no, I better not do that, just because it's already been bet down some. And the key number of 10 is important here because if you break it down, Vegas says it's 31-21, right? So can the Giants get more than 21 points? I look at it like, can Kansas City stop anybody? I don't care who it is. And the truth of the matter is, the Giants scored 27 against the Saints. The Giants scored 20 against the Cowboys, and they scored 25 against Carolina. So now they're playing a team that's got an even worse defense than any of those, and I think they can get there. So I'm going to play the Giants plus 10.5 tonight.
Again, a game where I don't have the exact number in front of me. I know one of the nerds out there does. I really think Kansas City is literally like 1-14 the last 15 against the spread. It's a game and I'll be probably most likely on a show later this afternoon, my weekly appearance with Pop DiBiase in LA, and he hates Mahomes. He hates him. And the more I look at all these damn commercials, and it does get nauseating. I don't think his commercials are as bad as Baker Mayfield's, but there's a lot of them out there, and they do get nauseating. But again, I guess if you weren't at the wedding, you're not going to the funeral. So if you've been riding Kansas City, sooner or later you're going to get egg in your face. The defense shows up. Mahomes, Tyreek Hill's unstoppable today. Kels throws in a couple, and the final score is 34-17. And then 34-17 stays under. That gets you right to that 51 number. But it is what it is. Again, for anyone following us or needs to follow us, go over to Twitter to EC Sports Invest or over to Webby20 at MLB. Come follow us. If you got a second, you could run over to YouTube, East Coast Sports Investors, and also Twitch at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe, hit the like button, retweet, tweet. We thank you deeply. We're trying to build something here. We're trying to be the educator, not the entertainer. That's too old for a lot of these other people, Scotty. So, but closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts are it's Monday. Don't do anything crazy out there. And then you got World Series on Tuesday. Baseball winding down. Football starting to pick up a little bit, starting to get a little bit goofy with some of these trap lines and some other things to start thinking about. And then it's time to start looking at basketball a little bit. So I'm starting to work on more of that numbers wise to see how it's going there. My computer models and see how they're doing. I haven't played anything. I don't trust any of those numbers yet. But it's just interesting to see how it's all breaking out. And I think, it's been a good weekend. There was a great college show this weekend. NFL was kind of dumb. And then tonight it carries over to kind of dumb. And I think Thursday night's a kind of dumb game too. If I think it's the Colts and the Jets or some stupid shit like that, and I think it's like, I think it's something like that. So I mean, it's like, can't we get something good things happening somewhere? I mean, holy crap!
You got
it's the Colts and the Jets, right?
Yeah, Jets at the Colts.
Another double-digit favorite, right? I mean, it's like, come on, man. All these things are going on in the NFL. It's like unbelievable.
Well, we got some good news tomorrow. We got return of the MAC. How's that sound? Eastern Michigan at Toledo, Ball State at Akron, Miami of Ohio at Ohio. Hey, anyone listening right now that goes on social media, you're going to get a ton of people crawling out of the woodwork, stomping their feet, saying they are MAC experts and specialists. And it's just because they're on now Tuesday and Wednesday, and they're going to try to sell you a bridge, okay? Or they got some great swamp area that you can build a house on. So just be careful out there. It's November 1st. The college basketball is back, baby. I got my Illini shirt here. I'm a UConn guy, but I will be center court, well, a little to the left of center court, next Tuesday. UConn opens up their home opener, first game back at Gamble in a year and a half. It's been because of the pandemic. Can't be more excited. Happens to fall on my birthday, so I'll be with all my girls and the wife. Get to maybe Coach Hurley will allow me to call out a play or two, and I can get in the sideline there to, set up an alley-oop or something. But I'm excited. I love the kids. I can't preach it enough, where if NBA versus NCAA basketball, it's not even close. Hey, listen, I'll take my hard-earned money. At least I know for the most part, I'm going to get 40 minutes from these kids versus the NBA in their 60 minutes where they're more worried about their sneakers and their brand and their 2K scores. I'll take the kids any day. And the same in football. We have amazing college football shows, amazing analysis in college football. And then it's like a letdown going to Sunday. And I play in high stakes fantasy football. And just to watch these games, I'm telling you, Scotty, every other play's a flag nowadays. And whenever you break a run over 10 yards, I will guarantee you that 70% of those, there's a flag and they call it for holding. You can't break a run over 10 yards without getting called for holding, because I think the refs are that's where their head is. Oh, he couldn't have broke that run without a hold.
So let me ask you this question. I heard this, I don't know, I don't know, it was on some show. I can't remember what show it was, and I don't even remember who the guy was, but he was a doctor. He's not a handicapper. He wasn't a sports analyst or whatever, but he's familiar with the players. And he was talking about Baker Mayfield. And he was talking about whether he was going to play and what he was going to look like and whether he was, all that stuff. And then he made the comment and he said this, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I've been thinking about it ever since he said it. He said, what do you think the Browns should do with Baker Mayfield? Because in his opinion, and he's a doctor for now, I'm just telling you, he's not a football guy. He says Baker Mayfield's a game manager. He's not a very good athlete. When you look at what the New York Giants have at quarterback and Daniel Jones, this is what he said. He said, Daniel Jones is an athlete. That kid can play quarterback. He's just on a bad team in a bad situation. What if you were to take the Cleveland Browns and put Daniel Jones on Cleveland Browns? What would that look like? And if you were the Browns, what would you give up to do it? And I started thinking about that and thinking about that and thinking about that. And I don't know if the goddamn guy's right. I think he might be.
The only reason that Baker's out there is because he's playing for his next contract. He knows if he just gets the surgery and shuts it down, he doesn't have the leg to stand on to get that next contract. And I think Cleveland's in a tough spot here. Am I going to invest $40 million a year in a Baker Mayfield? Hell no. No. Will I bring him back? at my rate, a la Patriots, hey, Tom, we want you back here, but we're going to give you 24, 25 a year. We're not giving you 40. I mean, Dak held out for a couple of years. He finally got paid. Now, we're not Cooper Rush fans, but he was able to win last night. But the point back to Baker, I think the Giants are one of those teams that, again, they're just going to clean house, head coach, OC, and are we back in for a quarterback? And they didn't want to get off of Daniel Jones, but last year was the year to dive back in. And it's okay. You can dive back in and hand the clipboard to the rook and see what we got with Daniel. And you can actually, maybe the Browns would come knocking. Because I said weeks and weeks ago, I thought Cleveland had everything that it make up to actually win the AFC. They have the running game, they have the weapons, they have the defense. They just have a quarterback that only can throw the ball 17 to 19 times. That's it. I'm sorry, Baker. Anytime you start to throw a 21, 22, 25, 30, we're going to lose. You can't make those throws. I'm sorry. You're not in Oklahoma anymore. I mean, it's not happening. So it's tough, Scotty. It is.
So I don't. That was a good question in a sense that is this guy right that Daniel Jones on a better team? Because looking at it right now, I'm looking at the EPA numbers and where all these guys rank, right? So 33rd is Zach Wilson. Then you got all these guys that go up, right? So Daniel Jones ranks 24th. The guys that he's ahead of is Tyler Heineke, Roethlisberger, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, Mills from the Texans, Bissett when he was the quarterback of the Dolphins, Trevor Lawrence, Fields, and Wilson. So that tells me he ain't better than nobody. And then when you look at Baker Mayfield, he's 19th. And he's ahead of guys like, Justin Herbert ranks 21st on this list. Tagliavula, whatever the hell his name is, Tua. He's 22nd, and then Jalen Hurts, and then Daniel Jones. So if you were to go get Daniel Jones, is he going to then jump into that list where he starts to go past, your Matt Ryans and your Cousinses and your Mac Jones and your Garoppolos? Is he going to go to that level? I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if it's, I guess what I was thinking about this whole time is Daniel Jones any good or not? Because I don't think of him as any good.
Well, the problem also is this is again, they spent a boatload of money to bring Golladay over. The guy's never on the field. He's always hurt. Ingram's always hurt. Another year without Barkley. Shepard's been out. But, again, he doesn't have any weapons to throw to.
And you should see their injury list tonight.
Yeah. It's like this. And so it's tough. When you invest in the young kids, and what is their shelf life? These kids that got to jump in and play on day one. Let's just go right to what happened this year. Okay. The number one pick in the draft, Lawrence. Okay. Everyone knew him from 3 years ago. He's looked okay. Is he the next coming to Andrew Luck? I'm not saying that. You got to prove it to me. Okay. So then who was the next pick? Trey Lance. Not ready. Obviously, he ain't ready. No, I'm sorry. Zach Wilson. Not ready, obviously. Trey Lance. Not ready, obviously. No. And then Justin Fields. That guy is going to be scarred for life. What is going on to that kid right now? And then Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the best quarterback out of that draft today. I'm not saying he will be for years to come. I'm not even saying the rest of the year. Anyone trying to tell me Mac Jones is not the best QB as a rookie class doesn't know football. I'm sorry. The kid's managing. He's winning. He won in San Diego last week. He was within an overtime damn field goal of beating Dallas. He loses to the Bucs on the last drive. The kid's good. Is he the next Brady? I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you, he's the best quarterback out of that class this year. And it's not even up for debate in my eyes.
So we talked about that Chiefs trend. The Chiefs are 4-13 in their last 17 against the spread. They are 4 4-11 in their last 15 off of a loss of 14 or more points. And they are in their just last 18 games, they're 4-14 on their last 18 games, whatever any of that means. But it's just one of those things that it's kind of interesting that they're not covering nothing.
They're not even covering the butter on their bread. How's that? All right, guys, listen, it's November 1st. 2 months left in the 2021. Okay. We got a lot of action coming here the rest of 2021, and hopefully some big news brewing with some alerts coming. So maybe a few of these coming in the next few days or weeks. We'll keep you in tune to that. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, Scotty Webb, the Breakfast Bankroll, East Coast Sports Investors, we wish everyone a blessed day. New day, new week, new beginning, new month. So listen, if you're betting today, bet with your head, not your heart. If you got a problem, pick up that phone. There's an 800 number. Feel free to reach out. Why? Because we care. We care, and I hope you care too. And I'm going to close with Triced Boy. Okay, whatever. So it's what it is. So, hey, good luck today. And we'll see everyone, hopefully, God willing, first thing tomorrow morning.